Good evening, everybody. This is Cookie Senton. We'll be doing our re-recording of the last class of the Intermediate Excel. One thing that was asked of me to do for this class is to show you how to export from QuickBooks. So I know I wasn't able to have that ready for you last time, but was able to fix the program, and I am going to show you tonight how to export things into Excel and how to be able to work with it. So right now I'm just in the midst of opening my QuickBooks program. Actually, I don't even know if I'm sharing yet, so if you probably don't see anything yet, so I'm sorry. But there was nothing really to see yet, so I'm just going to share my whole desktop, and it should be coming on in just a moment. Let's see if, yeah, it looks like it's sharing now, so that's good. And what I'm doing in QuickBooks, I'll let it load, and in the meantime, I'll show you what else we'll be working on. While it's loading, what I'd like you to also do, and I'm going back and forth a lot, but I just want to get everything loaded up. Let me get a new window out. Okay, looks like we have one thing open, so that's good. Okay, what I need you to do is go to the website if you haven't already downloaded the worksheet for this class. Let's see if I still have it in here. Oh. Let's see if we can kind of take a shortcut in. Yeah, let me just open it up. I will show you how I got it so that you'll be able to also access it. Just be a little patient. Actually, I'm going to put on pause. Okay, sorry, I just paused it so that my computer would have a chance to catch up with everything. Anyway, the one that we'll be doing today is going to just be under August 1st. This is a re-recording of the August 1st class. You can open or save it, up to you. Let's see if I have it. Okay, it's already here, so let me cancel this out. And okay, it opened as a read-only, but that's okay because I don't really have to save it after. Okay, so here's where I want you to start. I actually have it open twice. Let me just shut one. Okay, I'm going to start in this sample program of QuickBooks. I don't know if all of you know how to use it, but you don't really have to know how to use the program in order to do this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into reports, and what I want to be able to do is I want to just get a copy of certain lists and bring them into Excel. So just for this exercise, what I'm going to start with is the customer and receivables, and go down to the customer contact list. Okay, and here you see a whole contact list. Now, I could make changes to this list. I could modify the report, but this is not really a QuickBooks lesson. It's really just a lesson in being able to take this information and putting it into Excel. In fact, what will be interesting that I'm just looking at right now as part of today's lesson is if you notice that the Bill 2 doesn't have the name, address, city, state separated. What we'll be learning today is how to separate it if that's something that you need to do. So I'm going to go up here into Export. And you see right away it goes into, I have two choices, a comma separated values. I really just want to do an Excel workbook right now, but we will be talking about this comma separated value in just a little while. And we're going to go to export it. And it'll put it on its own sheet. You could add it to an existing sheet, but for this lesson, it'll go here. It's going into Book 2. Yeah, there we go. And I'll just open it up a little so you can see it better. And that's it. I mean, it's just that simple. Now it's in Excel. You'll notice that you have balance totals here. Let's just scroll down. If I press Control-N, that should take me to the bottom. This is just a basic list, so it's not doing any calculations. I don't see any formulas in here. I'll take one more report so that you can see something that does have formulas in it. Probably, let's see, if we did something like an open balance, let's see, let's do, let's do open invoices. And we'll export that one because then you'll see it with the formulas in it. And again, I'll put it onto a new sheet. All of this that I'm using is the sample sheet, the sample file that comes with QuickBooks. It's great to be able to practice on without running anybody's actual books. There we go. Okay, and you see that it'll separate it in some ways that you might not really like. It'll take some columns and leave them blank, like this D column has nothing in it. It's just the way that QuickBooks and Excel, how Excel imports it. But what I wanted you to see is that in here, let's see, you do have some formulas. You see right over here where it's taking the numbers from. It looks like most of these are just, oh, here, this one, you'll see a little more. You see all the items here, and you'll have your total here. Now, if you look at these formulas, we didn't really talk about rounding things out, but what this is doing is I think it's rounding it to the most would be 5 decimal point, 5 digits after the decimal point. So you'll see some formulas that might be a little unfamiliar in there. Right in here. And again, if you're ever reaching a formula that doesn't look familiar, go into the FX, and if you just notice, I'm going to cancel, show you what I just did. I'm looking at this formula. I'm not that sure about it. I click on the FX and the function arguments, and I'm seeing right here, it'll tell me what it's actually doing. Rounds a number to a specific number of digits. So the number is the number you wanted it to round to. So that's what it's showing you in here. Let's just see if we change this to just to be 1, just for argument's sake. I don't see that it changed it. Anyway, once this is yours, you could play with it. You could change numbers if you wanted to. You have your grand total here, and you see that they can't use an equal round with a sum because you can't take a range here. It has to take the specific cells, and that's why you're seeing all the numbers the way it is. See how the sum function can't always work, because what would happen is it would start adding all these numbers in here, and you don't want that as part of your formula. Okay, let's go into our worksheet for today, and we'll be starting with the T1. And what we're talking about here is formulas with cell references. What we're going to start with is we're going to click into B5 and go and type in point 6225. Now, if we want to stay in that cell, we're going to press Control Enter, not just Enter, which would take us down, but pressing Control Enter. So now, these formulas are going to look real basic, but we're going to take it to another level. Sorry about that. Control Home brings me right back. So if you ever end up way down in an area you didn't mean to be, use your Control Home. It'll take you back to the top of your page. So what we're going to do in B11 is we're going to put a really simple formula. All we're going to be doing is multiplying B10, the revenue, times B15, which is the percentage that we want to multiply by. We'll start with our B10, just clicking into it, and when we get over to our B15, make sure to use your F4 key, F4 function, lock it in place. It has to be absolute. Now, what I started to say about the Control Enter, easy enough. You've done that before, but now that you're in that same cell, in fact, this one, I'm going to just make it into our dollars, and we're going to use a shortcut for that, and I'm going to show this one to you again. It's going to be Control-Shift-4. What that's really doing is it's the same as saying Control and a dollar sign. So Control-Shift-4 or Control dollar sign is going to put it into a currency value. Once you're in here, you can use your crosshair to drag it across, but we're going to see a few different ways of doing that, using that cell handle to make things easier and easier. What I'm going to do now is these also should be shown as a currency. I'm going to use that same Control-Shift-4. To get my net income budget, I'm going to subtract one from another, but I want to do things in the shortest way possible. That's really the theme of today's class, is learning to use shortcuts to get our job done quickly and efficiently. Let's start out by selecting all 3 cells, and you'll always notice when, I'm just going to make everything a little bigger, make it a little easier to see. Whenever you're selecting more than one cell, the first cell is always white, the other 2 cells will be a blue. From here, I'm just going to put my equal sign. I didn't click into it. If I clicked into it, then I would have lost the selection. Click into it, get your first value, 1,000, the B10, and subtract the B11. Now, you're going to press Control-Shift-Enter. Control-Shift-Enter. Everything's done. It's still selected. Control-Shift-4. So you see that once you have your selection, leave it there and complete your job. Okay, another little shortcut. I want to get a total of January, February, March. I know I can go to my AutoSum, but what we're doing today is using the shortcuts. Hold your Alt key, Alt plus. Look how quickly, Alt plus, and you have the sum. You'll see it right here in number 6, sum function keyboard shortcut, Alt plus. So, and you got your formula. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time for you. Alt plus, and you're done. So you have a few new shortcuts in here. The Control-Shift-4 for your currency. You have your Alt plus for your quick sum, and selecting Arrange, typing in the first cell, Control Enter, all those cells are completed. Okay. Right now, the way I've been working is leaving the ribbon open. Sometimes I need more space on my window, and let's see if this computer is doing something else for me that I didn't really want. Let's get rid of that. No, okay. There we go. Okay. Let me go back in and okay, F11. I wanted to show you something else. It's not letting me do. Okay, Control F1. Control F1. What that just did is it hid my ribbon. I'm going to write it out over here for you so that you can see it. Control plus 1 will hide the ribbon. Sometimes you need that extra space. You need it back. I know I'm spelling terribly because I'm holding my phone at my neck. I think I'm going to put you on speaker. I think it's a lot easier that way. So hang on, everybody. Okay, I hope the sound is good. I know that I won't know until it's really too late, but at least my hands are free now. Okay, Control. Something's going on with my keyboard. I'm typing. Oh, I know what it was. I must have pressed my function key, and I'm getting my numbers. Something locked my function key, something I've never used on this computer, and let me just put you on pause, and I'll be right back. Okay, I just learned something about my keyboard, something I've never really used on this laptop. The numbers that are right inside the keyboard by pressing the function and F11 gave me a number lock, something I've never really bothered to use, but I guess I might start now. Okay, so our Control plus 1 is the way that we got rid of our ribbon. Let me write it again. I forgot to put the F with all that confusion. Control plus F1, the key that's right above the 1, Control plus F1, will hide the ribbon and bring the ribbon back. Okay, let's go over to number 2. And it looks like I ended up creating 2 charts that I didn't really need. Let's just get rid of them. They are good to use, but we'll do that later on. Okay, let's look at number 2. Highlight non-contiguous ranges, cells that are not next to each other. So if we have the range for the months of the year, that we need to be highlighted, and we also need to highlight the net income budget. So we don't need the information in between. By holding the control key, we're able to pick non-contiguous cells, and you see that both are being held. Now that I have it, and let's see, Alt F1, and we just created a very, very quick shortcut to getting our chart. And of course, I can move it around, and anytime I make any changes in my numbers, now of course I wouldn't make the change in anything in row 9 because those are really just formulas, but changing my revenue, let's say I change my revenue, right away you'll notice, Control Home, come back, you'll notice right away that my chart is corrected. Once I have my chart, I can delete an element. The series 1 doesn't really need to be there, or I might decide to change it for something else. Once I'm clicked into it, I can delete it. I also could add more information onto here. If I need to add a label onto this chart, I'm going to go up into my layout, and from layout, I'm going to add a chart title. Let's put it above the chart right in here, and once I have that cell inside, I can change it. So you can have your chart, you can add more text, more information right in the layout area. Go back to design, you have all your colors, and you'll see all your options in design. If I need to move this window around, you see that I can get to my 4 arrows. Once I have my 4 arrows, I can move it anywhere I want. If I come into the corner, the double arrow will let me resize things. And of course, if I make any change to my assumption area, all my numbers will change accordingly. Okay, so let's continue on. Let's move into T3. T3 is, and again, I'll make it much bigger for you, we'll be doing averages. Now, averages are pretty simple as far as using a basic formula. We have our auto sum formula in here, and in our auto formulas we have average. Now, average is great when we have a range of numbers that have no spaces in between. But in this window, we're going to run into some problems. We have a lot of empty spaces. If we take a simple average, I use my auto average function, click into it. What it did, if you just notice, is it stops. Anytime it has an empty space, it stops. And if I need to average everything in here, then I'm going to have to extend my range. Do that again. Let's get back in here. My auto average. Again, I'd have to do that. Now, what that is really giving me is it's not taking into account these empty spaces. But how about if I want these spaces to all contain zeros? I could go into each cell and start clicking into each one. It's going to take me too much time. I want to be able to highlight all the empty cells and change it to whatever number I want it to be. In this case, we're going to make it a 0. So first thing I want to do is highlight the range. I have a few different ways of doing it. I can highlight it by just clicking and dragging. I can also highlight it by hitting Control, Shift, Asterisk. Okay, so or Control Shift 8, Control asterisk. Once I do that, everything is highlighted. Hit the F5 key right here. It's the F5 key, and that's your go-to. Now, we don't want to go to one of these. These are going to be ranges. We're not working with those. We want to go to special. And what are we looking for right now? We want to go to the blanks. Okay? Go to the blanks and click. Now, if you notice that I have one cell that's selected, it's the white one, the rest are blue. I'm going to hit 0. Control Enter. As soon as I do 0, Control Enter, every blank cell now is filled with 0. If I undo that and let any number I put in, and put the number 5 in, Control Enter. Without the control, it's only going to fill in that one. Control Enter to roll them in. Okay? Let's change it to 0. Control Enter, and we're back to what we need. Now, you'll notice that my average just changed. Before it was, I don't know, about 35, or let's see what it actually was. It was 35.45, etc. Not what we wanted it to be. Let's take that formula out for now anyway, and quickly go through these steps again. Control Shift asterisk, hit my F5 key, in my special, go to blank, press OK. Oh, I don't see it. Let me do it again. There we go. Okay, remember, Control Enter, we got all numbers in. Now I need to put my formulas. Now I'm going to highlight the entire row at the bottom. Use my auto sum now. Auto average. Let's get it in there. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, looks like I'm going to have to type it in. Now, closing the parenthesis, but even if I don't, it'll finish it off. Press Control Enter. You have all your formulas. I ended up with a couple of extraneous ones here. Let's see what's going on in here. We have a sum. Well, we didn't ask for the sum. And let's see what else we got. Got our average. And let's just wipe these out. It might have happened accidentally before. Okay, so using that F5, that go to is, and we're going to that special button looking for the blanks. Once you do that, of course, you can reduce your decimal points and you have your averages. Most of the times when you're doing averages, decimal points really are meaningless because you're just trying to get an average number for whatever it is that you're evaluating. Okay, let's look at T4. T4, highlight a range. We highlighted a range just a moment ago. Let's highlight a range. Okay, if I type 1 in the first, press Control Enter, and everything else is filled. So we highlighted the range, typed in a number, Control Enter, populated all the cells. If I come down into A10 and I want to get a quick sum, Alt plus, got my quick sum. Again, I could do it all at once. Let's see if we can do that. Let's try it again. Let me get my numbers out of here. Do that Alt plus and Control Enter, double click, and we got them all. Okay, again, if it should be in currency, Control Shift 4, and we have our dollar signs all set up. When you're using that Control Shift 8 or the Control and asterisk, make sure that there's nothing touching above, on the side, or below, because anything touching is going to be affected. You see right away, as soon as I had something in here, it took this whole range. So, can't have anything touching it except for the area that you needed to work with. Okay, we're ready for number 5. And I know I'm going through each one of these quickly, but since it's a recording, you'll be able to go back and stop it and play it back and hopefully be able to pick up on whatever it is that you need. I'm going to look in here. I think that I had already put the name ranges in for you, but let's see if we can take them out. This is like one of those areas that I always forget where it is. Okay, in formulas, go to Name Manager, and let's remove all these for now so that we'll recreate them. And we'll recreate all these ourselves. So even in yours, do the same thing. Go into your Name Manager, get rid of them, and we'll make them together. So what we're going to start with is this is going to be our table. This is going to be our lookup table right in here. The first thing that we want to do, we want to create a data validation right in this area so that whatever product name we have here, we'll see the price show up right in here. We'll start by highlighting from H10 to H15. So we got H10 right in here to H15, and we're going to name this product. So go up into your name box and type the word product and press enter. Did it just change my numbers? Let me just see what happened here. Yeah, I just don't know why. I'm going to take these numbers out. It's just going to mess it up for this lesson. So there's formulas in there. I'd rather not use those formulas right now. So I'm just going to change these to different numbers that will work better for this lesson. And if I have a chance, I'll update it on the website so that you'll have the same numbers. Okay. So once again, I'm going inside my name range. Let's see if we have it in here. Okay, let me start it again. Let me highlight this. Name it product. Okay, if I click away, come back in, click it, it takes me straight to that named range. Okay, next part that I want to do is I want to select the entire table. Okay, and we're going to call this our VLOOKUP. Put the whole word, VLOOKUP table. Okay, again, I click away, come to it, VLOOKUP table, and I'm right in here. Now, what we need to do is to create our data validation. We have a few different ways of doing it. First way is we're going to be clicked into V10. Okay, once you're in V10, hold the Alt-D-L. Alt-D-L will open that data validation window. If you're working in 2003, you'll use data in your menu bar and then look for validation. Now, allow. What are we going to allow? Only allow a list. That's what we want to work from. So all we're going to allow is a list. And what's the source? Where are we going to look for that list? The source is going to be our product. So we want that name product. We don't want to have to type it in. Use your F3 key. F3 is going to give you, paste the name. So once you do that, find product, press OK, and you'll notice what it's actually doing. Source, without using the F3, let's say you forget how to get to that window, equal, and the name that you just used for that range, and press OK. And now you'll notice you have a drop down. Click away, you don't see it. If I click into here, I can only put one of these as a choice for this cell. If I click inside and I want to replace it with product 7, enter, it won't allow me to. You see right away that the value you entered is not valid. The user has restricted values that can be entered in the cell. So you prevent errors by creating this list. But let's see, now that we have product 6, we don't want to have to really type in the price. Here's where we want to use our VLOOKUP table. So let's click into the cell that has the price. VLOOKUP equal V, and as soon as I start to type it, I see it right away on my choice, my VLOOKUP. I'll hit tab, and I'm ready to continue on. Well, where do I want it to look? I want it to look at whatever's in V10. That's where I'm beginning. And follow, if you're not sure how to do it, follow along down here. It'll help you through. Everything gets separated with commas. The next part that we need is our lookup table. So let's click on to our F3 one more time. Here's the names of the names that we created. VLOOKUP, that's the next part that we need. By using this, you're again reducing errors. You're not spelling it out, perhaps leaving a letter out, spelling it wrong. Everything gets separated again with commas. Once you do that, where do you want it to look? You want it to look you're in the first column now. You want it to look at the price at the second column. That's where your 2 goes. Now, we don't always have to put a true false, but in this case we want to. We want only an exact match. We don't want an approximate match. So we put a zero, and close your parentheses, and we're done. So we're in product 6, and we see the price is 10.32. We go into here and we change it to a different product. Product 3 is 13.40. I like it to match in the amount of decimal points. So I'm going to go and I'm going to increase the decimal so it matches. Now, anytime this is changed, your price will change accordingly. Okay, so a couple of new things is using that data validation. Here's your keyboard shortcut, your Alt plus D plus L. Also, create your ranges. Don't type them back in. Use your F3 to find and paste the range name. Okay, we're ready for number 6. I know I'm going quickly through it, but I know you can play it back. I just hope I'm covering everything that we did in that same class. It's hard to remember specifically, and I don't have a copy of that recording. Okay, some more keyboard shortcuts because that's the theme of today's lesson. The keyboard shortcut for conditional formatting. So what do we want here? We have our cells, and we want to pull out specific cells that are, let's say, above a specific number. We have here our hurdle. Our hurdle is 200. So we would have a few different ways of doing it. I could select and hold my control key and select again and fill in the color. But that would be too much work, and the problem with that is I can't change my hurdle, and if my sales numbers change, my highlighted areas don't change. So we don't want to have to do that manually. We need a more efficient way to work. We're going to use the conditional formatting, and you'll see up here, Alt plus O plus V. Now, when I hit the Alt key, you'll notice that a couple of things start to pop up on the top. If you're using 2003, it's a little...
Please note that your conference will expire in 10 minutes.
It looks like we only have another 10 minutes. We were supposed to have until 7 o'clock, at least 7 o'clock when I'm recording, and it's 6:30 now. So I'll probably be talking a little faster because I'm running out of time quicker than I should have been. But I think we'll make it anyway. Anyway, if you're working from 2003, whenever you hit the Alt key and the letters that are underlined, it'll open that menu. In 2007, it's a little different than that. You don't see it right away, anything underlined here. So, sticking with that, we have opened our conditional formatting manager, and what we want to do with this right now is we want to create a new rule. And what is our new rule going to be? To use the formula to determine which cells to format. That's where we're going to start. So, we want to start with, format value when, and we're going to click into A8. Now, A8 right now is an absolute value. I'm going to hit F4. I'm going to hit the F4 again. What I want to happen is I only want the A to be absolute. I want it to stay in column A. I don't want it to move across, but I do want to be able to move it down. So A8 is going to be the beginning of this. So it's always going to look in that column. Now, what do we want A8 to be? We want it to be greater than our hurdle. A hurdle is 200. Now, that number is absolute, so that one will stay the way it is. And then we're going to format it, and we're going to give it a specific color. Not a font color, but I want to use a fill color. And if we use the yellow, let's see how that'll work up. And we'll say OK, and say OK, and let's see what happened. Should have worked. Let me do it again. For some reason it ended up in the wrong cell. Let's see if we can get it back again. Alt O B. New rule. Using the formula. Okay. Let's see if we missed anything. Applies to. I think this was where we went wrong. Applies to whole section. There we go. And let's see if, no, it's, no, okay, I realize what happened wrong. Let's see if we can come back in one more time. It had to be, okay, I'm going to close it. Let's see if we could go back. We got to highlight everything first. That was the problem. That was my mistake. Apologize. Okay. Go right back in. And say okay. Okay, there we go. Now it's working just fine. I forgot to select the entire area first. Without selecting the entire area, what happened is it was only targeting the first column. So now that we have this, if we go in and we change our hurdle to 100, you'll see how many cells now will be selected. Every time we change our hurdle, you see how our selection changes. Back up. And it's working beautifully. If I come in here and I change one of the numbers, again, it'll work. So rather than doing it manually by creating this condition.
Please note that your conference will expire in 5 minutes.
Okay, sorry, it sounds like we only have 5 more minutes, so I'll just try to cover as much as I can. Whatever I don't get to, you probably will be able to see how it works from the instructions that I put on the top. You know what, and I don't even find number 7 that important, so I'm just going to pass over that one and go straight to 8. This one is separating the first and last name. Anytime you want to highlight an entire range, Control-Shift down, and you see how quickly everything is highlighted. Once we do that, we're going to separate. So what we need to do is we need to go into Data and then Text to Column, Delimited, choose the file type that best describes your data. So delimited means some kind of a character that's separating the two. In this case, it's separated just by a comma. So we're going to go into here and we're going to check off comma. You see right away what it's going to look like, and press next and finish. Now make sure you have empty spaces in between, because if you had more than 2 names, 2 commas, you'd end up needing more columns. Have the extra columns, and you can always get rid of them later. So you see that right away everything is separated, and there's your list. Okay, let's do the same thing on this side, except that on this side it's separated by a space. So we're going to go into Text to Column again. Delimited is going to be separated not with a comma, but with a space. Don't we really need that tab? Let's see what happens without it. We go to Next, and where do we want it to go? Well, we have 2 choices. Let's not have the destination being F6. Let's put it into, let's see if we can change that. See what happens here. Okay, so why did I do that? I wanted to have both names. I wanted to be able to have it this way. If I didn't want it this way, then I would have left, go right back again. I would have left the destination being where it is and replacing everything in F with just the first name and second column having the last name. Okay. Moving into number 9, just doing the opposite, connecting, and I think we used the word last time, concatenating, joining together. So, again, we'll do it real fast because I know that we're running out of time. We're going to use your ampersand. That's going to connect them. The quotation marks, anything that's text or, well, a space is like text, not numbers, we use the quotation marks. Again, the ampersand, the last name, and we're done. If you press Control-Enter, you would have stayed where you were, and how quickly we have all our names. Now, here's something interesting. Once you have this, if you went in here and you changed any of the names, this column changes. Now, this column is fine for now, but if you want to get rid of all this, everything disappears. So you don't want this dependent on these two columns anymore. Keep it selected. Touch the edge and use your right click and move it over. And when you release, you see that you get a context menu. From here, what do I want to do? I don't want to just copy it here. I want to copy here as values only. So by doing that, now each of these names...
Your conference has expired. Thank you for using this service. Thank you for using our service. If you have found this service useful, please invite family, friends, and business associates to use it also. Goodbye.